So here it is. Welcome to Friday Night with Anthony White. I am currently live on Facebook. I am recording this on Zoom as well as on YouTube, going for the recording there. I tried with my iPad, which was actually a little old. And I think because the iPad's like older, and I shouldn't say a little old, no, it's pretty much old. It was kind of problematic in that scenario to kind of figure and see that. I'm going to attempt, I guess, to keep up to date with people on Facebook because I'm using my phone. Technically, I've got two phones. I've got another one. So I've got my iPhone, that iPhone X, that I'm using for Facebook. I'm using my Zoom camera for there, and then I've got my iPad right here that is going to be doing this on YouTube. Anyway, Friday Night with Anthony White. Sorry for the loud noises for everybody who just heard me cough. But for me, one of the biggest issues I think that I face is the realization that every single one of us has issues. And the truth be told, duh, right? Obviously, we've all got issues. But one of the biggest issues I think that we face is that of, I don't want to just say ignorance. I would probably say lack of information is probably the best way to say it. And for me, when it comes down to it, I'm coming being the man who's divorced, right? Was married for a year and a couple of months, and didn't realize that she actually didn't love me. I just had something she wanted. And for me, it threw me for a spiral, truth be told. And the problem that I faced, the biggest issue that I faced, was the fact that I beat myself up, beyond belief because of it. And so for me, it was, hey, I made this mistake and I don't want anybody else to ever make this mistake again. And whether you've been married, whether you've been, single your whole life, whether you went through 3 engagements, like some people, it's the reality that, hey, you know what? There are things that we're just not aware of. And it's not because of stupidity. It's not because of necessarily just ignorance. But I think ignorance plays a huge part of it. It's just we're unaware. We're not aware of what's going on. So for me, celestial dating. Celestial dating was really the answer. And I knew this back in, or started to identify and figure this out back in, I think it was, what was the word? I'd probably say 2000 and, I don't know, 6, something like that, 2006 and 7. And one of the biggest reasons for this and identifying or recognizing or coming across it was the fact that I was afraid to approach women, ask them on dates. That was like a sign of commitment for me. And it was a problem, a huge problem. And I think that is a big issue with me being now a mid-single adult. I'm coming up on 40 here. I'm not a young buck. You can see, if you can see close and zoom in, I got the bags under my eyes and the problems there. But truth is I don't want other people to go through the problems that I went through. And if they can prevent them, awesome. And if I can provide that information, whether you're joining me Facebook, whether you're on YouTube and you have questions and I can get back to them, awesome. The reality is that we've got issues, we got things to address or need to be addressed. And whether it's a question from you or somebody else, this is a routine thing that I want to do. Friday Night with Anthony White. And to really just have this conversation. Sometimes people are intimidated or afraid to kind of post them in the feedbacks and say, well, this is my issue, this is my problem. Not a problem. Private message me. I'm okay with that. That's one of those, the purpose of this is to answer and address the problems that are at hand. Now, I have my own narrative. I have my own book, movie, saga, journey, whatever you want to call it, right? I've got my own. And I've seen what principles work and don't work, how to approach things, how to think about certain scenarios or situations. Really, it's the mindset. It's how do we get ourselves in a position where we will not just necessarily take advantage, but it's how can we benefit and increase and profit from what we're experiencing and the stuff we go through. And whether it's an issue or a situation in your life or somebody else's, there's an answer. It's just, do you want to take the time to invest in finding the answer, or are you just wanting that quick solution, the quick fix, the quick out, which is too many people, far too many people, to be honest. And that sucks. That really, really sucks. When a lot of people are just saying, give me the easy answer. Well, hate to tell you, there's no easy anything. I say, yes, there is, but a lot of people don't know what easy is. Easy is difficult to interpret because it means it's done with ease. Well, too many of us nowadays put too much stress, anxiety, frustration. You label or put any kind of pessimistic or problematic, feeling attached to it, and it's not easy. So for me, I say it's simple, and that's the truth for me. It's simple, but again, are you willing to invest? And that's really what it is. And I'm not saying money necessarily. If somebody wants a coaching session with me, they got to invest. And ultimately, it's time, it's energy, it's money, right? I coach some people and I record them, and they're via Zoom, and we do like maybe a 30-minute session or even less. But I've done free coachings with people, and they see it just as that. That's just free advice. Somebody walking down the street and just saying, here you go. This is my 2 cents. And you just take it for what it is. I've had people paying me, hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars for coachings, courses, whatever it is, and they see it as valuable because they're invested. They pay it, right? Because what I'm offering or giving is valuable. But again, my concept, my whole being of being the orange tie guy is to help inspire other people from not going down the road I went down, not accepting or going through and experiencing the I guess the heartache and the pain that I went through. So it's more of that investment. Okay, so without me giving you a lot of dialogue and stuff behind it, let's get into this. So like I said, I'm on YouTube. Sorry for YouTube shaking my little stand here for my iPad. I'm on Zoom. I'm on Facebook. I'm going to try with my other device to see if I can log into my Facebook account. And if I can, which it's slowly maybe letting me. Nope, it's not saved in this phone. Crud. Okay, so what I will do, stop it, okay, is I'm going to try and get on this so that I can answer your questions, because that would really, really stink if, I'm not able to actually get on here and answer your questions. Are you kidding me? That's my password. Come on, people. Let me in here. Okay. It's a problem when you have like 17 passwords, right? So, okay, not now. Let's go to this. Let's go to Sani. Thank you for liking my video. All right, so let's go to here, and I'm going to be aware if you guys message me or if there's anything still with this. Okay, that's not cool because for some reason it's not giving me updates. But I'll just update it every 5 seconds or something like that to see if there's any new posts here. All right. So private message me. I mean, that's something, or even message it in the thing. I can scroll through and see what little chat things, if there's any chat buttons or anything like that. So here's the concept. Celestial dating. Too many people go on a secular mentality and they go to this world of instant gratification. I have read and downloaded and read and invested. There are far too many books out there that talk about how to win somebody over, right? How to get the guy or the girl that you want, how to, get them to want to sleep with you, or how to be physically attractive and want them to really just kind of long for you. And so it's like, oh my goodness. And it's going off of these hormonal emotions. It's basically trying to fill a void that has a bottomless pit, that has a container with a big hole in the center where you can never fill it. And so it seems to me like too many of these secular books and videos and coachings and stuff are ultimately trying to get you to Sell yourself as a product. It's an instant gratification. It's how can you fill this need of belonging? And that kind of hits ultimately the issue of our three basic human needs. I was listening to a General Authority 70, and he was talking to a group of us. And in this meeting, he said, the three basic human needs. And he said, basically, food, right? Safety, basically, housing or support, place to live. And he said the third one was belonging. And for some reason, that was like lightning hitting my brain. And I'm like, oh my goodness, are you serious? Like this is what I was missing. Man, I gotta clear my throat or suck on a lozenge or something like that. So again, sorry people. But here was the truth. The truth of it was that belonging was this big indicator that helped me to recognize and identify and figure out, oh my goodness, I hadn't put that connection together that belonging is that major part of our relationships. Let's take, for example, nowadays, right? What's going on right now? Right now, the world is in a state of panic, right? We're kind of coming out of this, but it's still in this state of panic. And everybody is looking to what? When the first time that, COVID-19 kind of happened, everybody all of a sudden freaked out, right? Went to Costco and Sam's Club and Walmart and everywhere they could, and you lost, or they were depleted of water, right? They were depleted of toilet paper. They were depleted of like pretty much everything emergency essentials, right? Everything that has to do with basically surviving, right? To survive. And in that state, it was that whole idea of, food. It was survival mode. All of a sudden, it's that, what is my basic need? Well, my basic need of safety, right? Or not safety, but those needs of food. I need food. I need the essentials, right? Nobody cared about other people. In fact, they would bowl you over and like knock you out and, grandma's cane, take that from you if you could. It was like barbaric is really what it was. It was totally, totally messed up. And one of the biggest issues is that when you go through this experience, that's where we run into this massive issue of people will throw you under the bus. Literally, they will throw you under the bus. And the biggest issue came to play. Oh, I got a message here. All right, so I'm going to keep this anonymous because if you're private messaging me, you do not want this discussed. So let me log in here. But ultimately, everybody freaked out, right? Everybody was like, oh, what's going on? I can't believe this is happening. And then everybody's like, okay, well, we love you, we love you, love you. Well, all of a sudden, it's starting to phase out of this process. And that's one of the biggest issues that we're running into is that everybody's starting to get their wits about them, right? They're saying, oh, I'm tired of being stuck here. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. And, I want to get out. I want to this. I want to that. I want to whatever, right? So all of a sudden everybody goes to the cave mode and it's like, hey, I need to survive. I need to have food. I need shelter and protection, Don't touch me. Like, put your mask on. Get away from me. 6 feet, Hi, Drew. Happy Friday to you too. But it was one of those big issues where people freaked out, right? And all of a sudden, in this process, everybody's on that. They don't really care about this belonging side of things, right? In fact, a lot of people are like, oh, for the love, I got to spend time with my kids. Oh, I'm stuck here with my roommates. Oh, I've got to be here at home with my parents. Oh, man, like I got to, and everybody's kind of, right? And then all of a sudden they had to kind of break down that barrier. It was like a mandated, forced thing. Then all of a sudden people are saying, as much as I really did not want to be stuck, teaching my kids, elementary school and having to do this and watch them all day long because, public school or, daycare was the way out that I had my own time. All of a sudden they had to break and force themselves to actually connect again with their children or their parents or their siblings. And all of a sudden they started to, okay, well, how do I connect with them? Some people escaped, right? They escaped into social media. They escaped into Facebook or into YouTube, or they escaped to whatever. Well, guess what? Eventually that gets burned out. And you need connection, right? Like me talking to people right here. Drew, you're awesome because every time you watch my videos, you're always like, happy Friday, and Drew, hi, and all that stuff. And I love you, Drew. But when it comes down to it, we need to connect. We need to have this belonging. We need to belong. Well, that is a major issue. And Maslow, I think it was Jonathan Maslow back in the, I don't know, 70s, something like that. I think he's gone now. Actually, I think he died in the 70s or something. He wrote a bunch of books. And there's this chart, diagram, graph that he created that I will always forever stick to, because until somebody gives me something better, updated, right? Ignorance. If I don't know something's better, until somebody brings it to my attention. But he had Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it is amazing. And it has helped me to gain all this information and say, why do people do this? Why are they doing this? Why aren't they doing this? Why am I this feeling of I want to belong? I was stuck in this behavior theory of basically codependence for most of my life. And it was like, why? Like, I was fascinated with psychology because I was dependent on other people. I was a problem, is really what it was. That's the simple truth. It was a problem. And I see too many people that are codependent, and too many people that are intoxicated by this need to belong, and they're anxious. They're like vomiting all their personal information and saying, you better accept me for me, or don't accept me at all and don't waste my time. That's anxiety, people. And then there are the avoidant type, where it's like, if you have any kind of heated argument or a complaint, maybe you have, in my opinion, I think not arguments, but it depends on your interpretation of an argument, because you can have a debate and it's like, okay, what's your argument? Okay, what's your argument? Okay, what's your argument? And I mean, so the concept is how do you perceive this? What is your definition in your head? So one of the biggest problems is that we are not communicating. We're not connecting. We're not understanding what other people are thinking. To go back to, Stephen Covey's, 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. And actually, he wrote a book previous to that, which was exactly the same book, but it was more gospel oriented toward his faith and my faith. As a disciple of Jesus Christ and belonging to his church, how to succeed with people. That's what his book was titled, How to Succeed with People. Then he reframed it and stuff because it was an orange cover. I'd get out of frame to go pick up the book because I'm looking at it right now, and it's got these weird 70s like pictures, drawings of people's faces and stuff on it. But anyway, to belong. But people wanted to be avoidant. That was the other side of that toxic side of behaviors, is you're either anxious or you're avoidant. And the avoidant side is that if you have a confrontation, or if you say, hey, like, no, what you're saying is wrong. Like, I appreciate you sharing that, but that is totally wrong. And here's why. And let me share you why. And other people are like, you know what? No. And they want to avoid. They don't want to have any problems. They're afraid. Like, I don't want to face this. I don't want to talk about this. I've had conversations where people have like freaked out. Like, I've had these coaching sessions where they've like almost screamed like, no. Now I'm not going to scream, so I'm, deafening everybody here, but they're like, I can't do this. And it's like a psychological, because we hit that barrier. And it's like they don't want to pursue, they don't want to go further, and it's freaking them out. Okay, I got a question here, so I'm going to kind of deviate from where I'm at right here because, again, people don't want monologues. I want to answer your questions. So I've got this. I'm going to call him J. Doe. Just kidding. But anyway, John Doe. Just a joke, but I'm clearly not funny. Okay, so please, let's see here. So here's the question. How can we work to be happy by ourselves and happy with others when loneliness can be an overwhelming emotional burden at times? Okay, so J. Doe, just kidding. I'll just call you John. Does that work? Yeah, because that works. So John, what it is how can we work to be happy by ourselves and happy with ourselves when loneliness can be an overwhelming emotional burden at times. Okay. A part of celestial dating, and one of the things that I do as the Orange Tie Guy, is helping people ultimately identify with themselves. Who am I? Why am I here? Where do I come from? It's not only a part of my faith, it's a part of who I am. And I think it's an essential part of everybody. Because I think when we forget who we are, or we forget our purpose, or we don't understand it, maybe it's ignorance, maybe it's, we've been deprived, right? We just don't know. It's not there. Or we forget. Because when it comes to emotional problems, because we all have them, welcome to mortality, people, we have this issue of all of a sudden we stop looking out and we start to look in. And then we start to see flaws and problems and, oh my goodness, this is why I'm not worthy or this or this. And we start to bombard ourselves with almost like carrying these unnecessary burdens. It's almost like somebody with a travel pack, right? And they say, ooh, I see a rock. And then they put it in their bag, to the point where like they're carrying this heavy bag and they're not realizing they've forgotten that they've picked up all these rocks, and they're just like, I just got to get there, but I don't know how I can do it. It's like, why are you picking up rocks? It's like an unnecessary thing. So what happens is when we start having problems with ourselves, we start to look in rather than looking out. And then we start to, oh my goodness, I'm not worthy. I'm not good. I'm not. And all of a sudden we start to break ourselves apart. We start to destroy ourselves. And this isn't the natural man. This is man, women. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is human beings. This is the natural state. We start to break ourselves down. Now, we have a lot of, reactions to that, because oftentimes, depending on how we're raised, what environment, what influences we listen to, there's a lot of things that we can do at that point. We can say, you know what, well, this is my parents' problem, right? We can deflect and say, you know what, this is somebody else. They did this to me. You see all these movies, right, where some kind of psychotic child wants to blame their child or their parents, and they want to go kill them for some stupid reason, TV and movies, that kind of garbage. But it's based on psychology. This is like on fact, right? They want to deflect and say, it's your fault I'm this way, right? Sometimes other people will go through the process, and it's not necessarily that they will blame other people, but they will also potentially look to other people and then evaluate themselves. They will scale and put value essentially based off of what other people have either inputted or given them, and then they size themselves up and say, I'm not good enough. Like what the heck? And all of a sudden they start to make themselves like, I'm not a part of this area. And then they start to segregate themselves. And they start to put themselves off and say, you know what? Yeah, no, nobody understands me in this and this and this. First and foremost, as a disciple of Jesus Christ, number one, he first and foremost understands. Simple, straight to the point. Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior, Messiah, the Anointed One, God. He knows. That's the whole purpose of him being in Gethsemane, bleeding from every pore. That's the whole purpose of him being on the cross, is so that he could understand, so that he could say, I know exactly what you went through. Now, if you're not a faithful person, that's fine. If you don't believe in Jesus Christ or the atonement or anything like that, that's fine. This is me, okay? This is Anthony White, the Orange Tie Guy. First and foremost, there is someone who understands. I would say reach out to him. Prayer, first and foremost. Second is reach out to other people. Ask. I went through a state of loneliness, I would call depression, suicide, whatever you want to call it, because I put an evaluation on my education. It was something I put on. Parents, so proud of you, this. But guess what I did? I was the one that decided for myself, this is a big deal. Well, through a course of events, which I'm super grateful for, I went through the process and was in student government. I was, doing new student orientations. I did all these awesome things, but my grades depleted because I'm not a multitask kind of person. It was difficult for me to create Facebook, live, as well as a Zoom, as well as a YouTube, It was hard for me to put up all this stuff together, right? I'm the guy that's in front of the camera, not the guy that's behind the camera, right? So I'm not a multifunctional individual. Well, in my education, I tried to do too many things. I was not aware of my abilities. That I am a one or two act kind of guy, right? I can't do 17 things at once. Welcome to reality, right? So I had a sobering experience where ultimately I was confronted with the fact that, hey, you failed like 2 semesters, you're out. Peace out. You're done. You're not coming back. I had one shot. It was actually 3 strikes and you're out kind of a thing. But I failed. That was at a Christmas time, and I fire sold everything. I was in Hawaii, went to BYU Hawaii, and I sold everything. I think my GPA was like at a 1.7 or something like that. It was crap, is really what it was. And I was at the lowest of lows. I wasn't worth anything. I mean, like in my head, like people loved me and appreciated me and showed that, but I was depressed. I was down in the dumps. And I mean, literally, it was just, I felt like garbage. And I escaped. I played World of Warcraft for like a year. I think I didn't work. I basically went to church. I went to institute class, which was a godsend to have for me in my 20s. And I played World of Warcraft like all day long, pretty much. All night. When I felt like sleeping, I went to sleep. When I woke up, the first thing I did, turn on my computer to play that stupid game. But truth is that I created my own failure, if you, well, I wouldn't say failure, because failure I think is necessary in life. I think it's mandatory for us to succeed. We have to fail to find the path to success. We gotta, oh, that failed, okay, redo it. Oh, that failed. Oh, I got a little better this time. Oh, that failed. Okay, whoa, holy cow, I'm getting success, right? So I had failed, but I thought it was over. Like I was suicidal, literally. Thankfully, came back and to Utah. I lived with my parents, and I basically lived in my room. And they didn't bother me. They were kind and loving. They knew I was going through a big problem, and they were patient. And I mean, that's the kind of parents I have. Didn't stress or pressure me or anything, and I was just at a very vulnerable emotional state. In fact, if you knew me and you actually knew me back in 2006, I was quiet, a lot more quiet. I was very introverted. I was not open. I was very vulnerable, and it was like thin ice for me. And thankfully, I had so many loving people around me to help me. But it was because I valued myself at this stupid thing called education. Don't get me wrong, I love education. I'm a fan and passionate about instruction and education, but that was my value. I said, I am not worth it because blank. And I put that value there. So, how can we be happy by ourselves? First, you got to know who you are. Who are you? I would argue, in the sense of, I'm a son of God. You're a son or daughter of God. That means you got potential, whether you realize it or not. You got potential. Simple, straight to the point. Secondly, where am I going? Like, what do you want? What do you want? That's my biggest thing for everyone. What do you want? And I got to tell you, I'm gonna have a call here, private call with a sister a senorita who reached out to me and said, "Hey, can we chat about something?" I said, "Well, yeah, I do free coachings, with people, but I usually, record them on Zoom and, post them on Facebook, or I use them for my own research and stuff. If people don't want that, they can pay me, right? I do personal coachings with people, and I'm not expensive. Once I start to have no time, then I'll probably increase my prices. But right now I've got availability. But reality is, you got to know where you're going. That's like just walking aimlessly and you don't know where you're going. Nobody's around to help you. Like, you don't know where you're going. Even though people are saying, "Hey, I can help you," but I don't know what I want. That sucks. I've been there, And I've seen people there, and it's a crappy place to be. So truth be told, you got to know where you're going. And that's through a process of elimination. And I myself work best with other people. I've had coaches and mentors, and I continue to have them. And I love it because they're worth my time and money. It's because when I get that perspective, they say, okay, Anthony, well, here's the objective, right? Well, this is kind of my objective. Okay, that's your objective. What are you doing to get there? Well, I'm doing this and this and this, and this is my time. When I'm with my coaches, when I'm with my mentors, I do a mind dump. Blah. And sometimes they're like, wait, calm down, focus. Or they say, okay, right there, stop. And they say, that you need to focus on more. Okay, so let's dig into this piece right here. And that's what I do. That's what they do. I mean, that's the whole purpose of a coach. I would say everyone needs a coach. Everyone. And whether you have a family member that can take that unprejudiced or unbiased approach where it's an outside perspective. Because when you're emotionally involved with somebody, a family member, close person, husband, wife, that kind of thing, oftentimes people take it like as a very or more personal thing. No, you need somebody that's outside that says, okay, that was stupid. That was the dumbest thing. Why did you do that? And having somebody be vulnerable, sincere, transparent, authentic, genuine. I call it VSTAG. You got to be VSTAG. Simple, straight to the point. But further point of this question is, how can we work to be happy by ourselves and happy with ourselves when loneliness can be an overwhelming emotional burden? Right there, 100%, one of our 3 basic needs, we need it, is to belong. I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Simple, straight enough. I mean, I learned this in my youth, when I was like a toddler. I sang songs about it. I belong to, if nothing else, I could even create this idea, but sons of God. Simple, straight to the point, because I am one. I belong to a family. My parents, my siblings. Sometimes they don't act like it, and I hate it. It makes me want to throw a rock through one of their vehicle's windows, right? Maybe not that extreme. But nonetheless, people who have their frustrations with family, right? You got your family arguments or sibling rivalries. I was watching The Prophet. I'm a huge fan of CNBC because they have like Shark Tank and The Prophet and all these kind of cool entrepreneurial type things. And there was this brothers that started this awesome, I guess it was really a drum company, and it was good quality and they were great, but they had this breakout point. One brother felt the other one was lying against him and got everybody against him, and then this other brother bought this brother out, and you see the emotional side behind the scenes, how much this brother loves this brother, but this brother's angry and he's bitter because they haven't talked for 5 years or something like that. And he just has this idea in his head, which is not accurate according to this guy, brother. And there's this tension that they don't even know how to act. They don't even know how to interact. But you got to belong to something. And in fact, I'm going to hit this point, but I'm going to be very quick about this because I don't want to get too long of it. Why do cults exist? Right? Sacrificing cats, drinking the Kool-Aid, that kind of crap, because people want to belong. Why do sports or fan clubs exist? Because they want to belong. Why do religions exist? Because they want to belong. I'm not kidding, sports, religion, why do labels exist, right? There are these people riding in streets and putting banners of who I belong to because they want to belong. It's funny because not always is it that people want to attach to a cause. They want to belong. I remember as a child watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the old ones that were like a Jim Henson, kind of like the puppets, the interesting mouths that are moving, they're big and stuff. I remember that, like the Foot Clan, right? These kids off the street would be joining the Foot Clan. They didn't have any ninja skills. Why? Because they had video games, you could do what you wanted, you had free food, like you could loiter or steal things and bring it to this whatever. They felt fun, right? There was a game I used to play. I still play it every once in a while. Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. They have these, thieves guild, right? It's like a place to belong. Where this whole concept of like Pinocchio, right? Pinocchio, he went and joined and he belonged to this group of misfit kids that were drinking and boozing up, turned them into donkeys, right? Well, he parted because he belonged there. He felt like he belonged. I watch shows, movies where kids that get no like kids show up to their birthday party and they feel worthless, and it's like, what's wrong with me, and why don't people show up, and why and it's like we want to belong. We want to belong. So guess what? If you feel isolated, if you feel alone, reach out. Ask. Say, hey, I'm in a tough spot. Myself, I think, I mean, I have a group of friends, I have a group of associates, I have a group of, comrades, whatever verbiage you want to associate to attachments to other people. I have a group of family, right? There's some members of my family I will not discuss things with, whereas others I will discuss everything with, right? It's like there are those people to reach out to. I'm happy to be one to reach out to, but I got to tell you, I'm going to be bold and blunt and honest. I mean, vulnerable, sincere, transparent, authentic, and genuine. I've had coaching sessions where I'm crying because it's one of those moments where it's an emotional thing. I'm a guy I'm a sensitive guy. Even though I may not come across it on YouTube or on Zoom or on Facebook, that's fine. Probably because you don't know me. You see me as somebody who's behind, or in front of a camera that's going to give you the information that, I feel is valuable or answer the questions that people are sending me. But truth be told, yeah, I've got my tender moments, right? Or something, whatever you want to call it. But here's the truth of that question. If you feel isolated, if you feel alone, reach out. I have learned the biggest, and I'm going to leave you on this because we're getting on to 40 minutes here. And I don't know if people are still stuck with me or not. Definitely leave a like or a comment, thanks, something, because I need to know if people even want to see this stuff, right? But I'm still going to post it, and I'm still going to do this. But here's the comment that I want to leave you with, or the principle, I would say. I feel that Jesus Christ was the ultimate example. He was the perfect example. I feel that he taught it best in his principles. And I think Buddha, I think Muhammad, I think Gandhi, I think they all taught it, truth be told, all of them. I think that if you are feeling alone, you need to find somewhere to serve. Serve. That's it. Honestly, that's the truth. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. Having the live discussions are great. I look forward to these. I do too, honestly. So thanks for that comment, Josh. You got to serve. This here, the orange tie guy, like I had a poster up in one of my older YouTube videos and probably on Facebook too, where it showed like, oh, I think I got it right here. I'm not going to show it to you guys, but it showed like hashtag, like where you could, like my Cash App and PayPal and Venmo and all that kind of stuff, right? Jamie, you're too kind. Thank you, Jamie. But I only get paid because I only have a certain amount of time in a day. And people, I want to help so many people. I want to serve. And that's what gives me purpose. I tell people all the time, and I message it, I love to serve and I live my life accordingly. That's where my happiness and joy comes from, serving. And that's where I belong. Truth be told to you, John, I think we labeled you, serve. Find out how you can give. Gary Vaynerchuk, love his information. He's profane, has vulgarity, swear words all the time. But he still gives this, he wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook, or something like that. And he basically said, give, 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 then ask. And the truth is, I'm not going to ask people, hey, if you're getting my free content kind of a thing, you should pay me. No. But I want to give. I want to give and give and give and give. And I fell into coaching like like surprisingly because I couldn't give anymore. I was like, I can't. I got to go to work. I got to do this. I got to go do that. Sorry. I got to get like a handkerchief or something. I don't know why I'm weird. Anyway, but the truth is, all of a sudden I said, you know what, I can't. And somebody said, I'll pay you for it. What? Like, no, like, I'll pay you for your time. If you can help me with this, or if we can talk, I'll pay you. And it was like, okay, that was the start. I had something to give to somebody that I was offering as free service. And then I remember the value of free. To a lot of people, they just discard it. But then there were people coming back and said, I will pay you. I need this. I want this. And all of a sudden, it became this business. Well, guess what? I still want to give it away. I still want to give it away. I want to serve. I want to help so many people. But a lot of people place value of, oh, this is just a guy talking. People who know me and have had these discussions with me know the value in it. People who I've coached, who have paid for coaching. People who, ask me as I'm, walking, whether it's at church or at school or whatever, my place of business, whatever it is, right? They see me and they're like, oh, hey, I got a question. And I love answering them. I hate it when I have to say, you know what, I can't right now. I hate turning people down. It sucks. But serve. If you feel alone, if you feel by yourself, give. Then guess what? That's a part of orange, Orange. A is attractive. When you serve other people and you are willing to do it and want to do it, you attract people. Not just leeches like saying, hey, well, you know what? You owe it to me. Yeah, bullcrap. I don't owe you anything. Simple and straight and to the point. But you attract people that want to be with you. I think of, and I'll leave you with this analogy or this, I guess you could say, truth that we read in the scriptures. Jesus, he fed 5,000, right? Loaves of bread, right? So I'm not going to go into the miracle side of that, but a great lesson taught there. People were there, they were fed, and he started to teach. And people left. Okay, so there was that part one where people, okay, I've been physically fed, I'm good. Fishes and loaves, I'm good. I'm now satisfied, I'm not hungry. Great, okay. Then he started to teach, and then there are people that are like, what? And they're like, okay, this is kind of weird, but okay, so peace out. And they left. He continued to teach, and there were those people that understood, but they were like, no, I'm not doing that. Pass. I'm not down with that stuff. And then there was that fourth group that stayed and said, you know what? Yeah, I want to do this. This is where we have those opportunities to give and to serve and to find out, where are those people? Are they the first group? You gave me what I want, peace out. Are they the second group who will say, you know what? Okay, I'll listen, but then they're like, I don't get any of this, and so you're speaking gibberish, I'm out. Are they the third group who understands what you're saying, but they're not willing to commit, they're not willing to do, they're not willing to follow through, they're not willing to be accountable? Nope, I ain't doing that. See ya. Or are they the fourth group? And they're saying, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I see it. I understand. And even me, in another testament of Jesus Christ, he visited people here on the North American continent after he was resurrected. I mean, he said in the New Testament, other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also, I must teach and bring. So here's what's interesting. In that record, he taught them, and then he said, I perceive that you are weak and cannot understand all the words that I have been commanded of the Father to speak unto you. So go back to your house and pray and ponder upon these things. And I read that, and when I read that, I think to myself, wow, this is where we have that moment to really internalize and say, you know what? If I'm part of the third group where it's like, or even the second group where it's like, I don't understand what's going on here. It's like, am I willing to ponder, meditate, and to say, you know what? Is this something that I want to do or I'm willing to do? Or will this give me what I'm looking for? Because guess what, people? We're all wandering. We're all looking. We're all searching. For me, I'm looking for an eternal companion. And I'm talking about a celestial one, meaning we're both taking the higher road. We're not going to just, ooh, she's hot. Ooh, he's a wealthy provider. No. I want somebody who can be real with me, transparent, or VSTAG, vulnerable, sincere, transparent, authentic, genuine. And for me to be attracted to her. And I'm not just saying physically, because reality check, ladies, men are physically attracted to you first. Simple and straight to the point. My ex, she actually, I didn't find her physically attractive initially. Spiritually, she got my attention. And that's kind of how she lured me in spiritually. So it doesn't have to be physical. It could be emotional. It could be conversational. It could be physical. It could be intellectual. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of forms of attraction, men and women. And it's interesting because for me, I'm looking for that individual who's confident in herself. I'm looking for that woman who doesn't need me to feel validated, although willing and open to let me bring additional value to her. That sucks when I can't find someone like that I'm attracted to. I have dated and dated and dated and dated and dated till I'm sick. And the truth is, I want to find them. I know you do too. And if you're married and watching this, keep it going. And it's probable that you've lost that little spark you had when you were dating, courting, engaged, and even newlyweds. I find it a celestial and heavenly relationship, an actual celestial marriage, when you have never left the honeymoon stage. Never. And you're 80-something. You can have arguments. It's part of conversation. Yelling, that's a different story. Abuse, not tolerable. Never. But conversations, connecting, being VSTAG, vulnerable, sincere, transparent, authentic, genuine, those are things we need to learn. Every one of us. And I'm secure enough in myself to do that. And if somebody just, or, whoa, sissy, I'm like, clearly you're not the one. Clearly you don't want to be around me. Clearly you're one of the, first three groups. You're definitely not a part of that fourth group. So I would hope for you, John, answering this question for you today, if you're feeling insecure, if you're feeling isolated, if you feel lonely and overwhelmed emotionally with burdens at times, I would say clear, straight, and to the point, serve. Look for places and ways to serve others. So you stop looking inside and you start to look out. And as you do that, I can guarantee you that if you start to do that, you will start to forget your problems, or you will have the strength to let them go. Just like pollen in the wind, right? Or what is it? Not pollen, but little seedlings like a dandelion or whatever. Let it float away. Stop carrying those rocks in your pack. Pull a string, a zipper at the bottom, zzz, let them all fall out. And you will find it not overwhelming. You'll find it relieving. You'll find it empowering and strengthening. And it's crazy. Because as I started serving people when it came to relationships, I was a teenager. I was advising one of my closest friend's younger sisters. She was the popular girl at school. And what's crazy is that was the path that led me to who I am now. It's amazing. But it was just simple things about how you can get a guy's attention, or, what do guys look for? And I gave her wholesome advice that, well, if you want a quality guy, this is the kind of guy you want. And my path of serving has led me to one of the greatest joys. And like I say with everybody, I love to serve and I live my life accordingly. So when I have those opportunities to serve, I don't feel obligated. Like, for example, moving friends. I love to help and serve, but oftentimes one of the biggest issues that I have is that I can't lift big stuff. I got a crappy back. Got to build my back a little stronger. Maybe I'm a little too hunchbacked or something like that. But if I can't do it, I can't do it. And you shouldn't be ashamed of that. You should feel empowered and strengthened and knowing what you can do. This goes back to, who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? And for me, I know all of those. And it brings confidence. Ugh, ladies, you know you love confidence. Guys, you know you love confidence. Not arrogance, but being self-assured. Meaning that I'm good with me. And when the time comes that I find that beautiful, confident woman that I'm lovingly attracted to, that heavenly love, that she'll be confident in herself and she'll add to my current confidence. Not be dependent on me, not being